You are watching The Fourth Estate. Alan Kasuja along with Simon, a member of parliament. And of course, we've got Chris Obore, investigations editor extraordinaire. I don't see your byline in the papers anymore.
Well,
not a lot of
I think
the
he lost out.
story
He lost out on that.
in the papers is Chris Obore's
I need to look at
story.
it. My apologies. And of course, we've got Nicholas Opio, and finally, Angelo Izama, journalist, and of course, Nicholas, lawyer extraordinary. He goes to all sorts of terrain to defend some people that... Anyway, coming back though, we need to deal with this issue. The NRM has taken a battering, and that's in part because it's a party in power. But surely, Angelo, FDC is not an alternative to NRM, is it?
I certainly think so. I mean, the Ugandan people seem to think so.
To think what?
FDC
is it better? Ideologically, we talk about ideological differences. Is it going to offer a much better alternative to what the NRM has offered over the last? Is it a fresh pair of eyes, or are we dealing with the same old wine in new wineskins?
I don't know. To be fair to FDC and its leader, they try to present themselves as an alternative, but not in terms of policies, because I think people nowadays argue, I mean, what is the difference between major political parties, but the FDC is promising to run the country better. And if you look at, the votes that they get, Ugandans seem to think that next to NRM, that they are that alternative.
Okay, when you think about the fact that, so you say FDC is an alternative, recent polls suggested...
is it a good alternative?
Yeah.
That's a different question.
Yeah, that's the thing, because that's what I'm trying to get to. Because recent polls suggested, Nicholas, that whereas NRM was having a little bit of a popularity struggle, nobody was running towards FDC and seeing them as a viable alternative to NRM. FDC's popularity was not necessarily growing.
But why don't we leave these parties out of the calculations for the future? Because I think that what Uganda needs is politicians with more ambition, that can take our youth bulge and turn it into something that is
what would be the vehicles?
But you see, those have come through parties.
So you think these parties are irrelevant given to moving forward to the future?
Well, I'm sad to say that if you look at the sorts of choices that we have right now, we're doing badly.
I think, Alan, let me put issues to this show. What I was trying to say, and I also believe it is the current caliber of politicians we have don't deserve to be politicians.
What do they deserve?
Their relevance in our problems today is not there. Because they are simply politicians driven with the ideology of Njaulo. So what we are asking, how do we get politicians, either in the parties, in their parties, who are not driven by the ideology of Infundina?
Are there any such politicians left?
They are there.
Like
the trouble is,
like you're saying Simon is not
okay,
the Simon Mulongos who occupy that space. Now I can come in there now.
Yeah.
You realize why we see a debate about Kadaga, Museveni blast Kadaga, blast Mbabazi. You see, people should be told the context of these things. People think NRM is getting divided. Far from it. The chief political maneuverer called Yoweri Museveni, your boss, he's always forward-looking. There is a false belief in some of the NRM leaders that 2016 Museveni not be a president, and they are anticipating to use the Kanu approach to threaten him to bow into their interest. You know Kenyan politics. Kanu went as a bloc, but NRM today cannot split as a bloc. That's why you see Kadaga group, Babazi group, Otafire here. At the end of it all, it serves Museveni. In fact,
how does it serve Museveni? I'm struggling to get
he's standing in 2016.
Right.
But they have sent a false rumor that he's likely not to stand. So the Mulongos begin to see who next if Museveni is not the one.
So they start to position themselves.
Is it in Babazi? Is it in Kadaga? Now, the point, listen, the point then is, Museveni actually is organizing his 2016 campaign. I told you about the Luganda saying Akasimo. Yeah. There is already a group going on to come with Akasimo. Let's say thank you to Muzei. The third time is finished Kisanja, the Mulongos wore banana leaves. Now they are going to be singing Akasimo. Let Muzei, they say thank you for rebuilding the state. That will be their campaign thing.
Right.
We found the state in tatters. He sacrificed himself. Now let us forget this and say thank you, Muzei. And they will all switch back to Museveni. So I relate them to these grasshoppers or Dongo talks. You have a problem, and then you are eating each other. But that's why Museveni is brilliant.
Alan, I think
Yeah, go ahead.
the point I wish to
Nicholas.
make is that I don't have any hope in FDC, in NRM, in all of these parties, because these parties, in my view, are not driven by the inherent belief to change the people's lives. They're just poor, hungry people, and you can see in the way they are fighting. My hope, I think, should be in the people of this country. If we empower the masses, if we empower the voters, they should know their rights, should know what to demand from their leaders, then the end product might be better leaders in the frame of the Mulondos.
Yeah, but you see, one of the incidents that came through, and I would like to bring you, Simon, into this, in the course of the week, the president, of course, made certain statements that were directed at the speaker, right, and the prime minister. And subsequently, the commissioners of parliament came out and they gave a very, their response was, wait a minute, back off.
Leave our speaker.
Leave our speaker alone and stop directing those sorts of statements to us. Are we seeing the beginning of the end of the myth that is President Museveni, that he has been riding on for a very long time?
First of all, I had a lingering question of the next leadership.
Yes.
And whether we're going to have that around the parties or some individuals. I think the party dispensation in this country is just taking firm and firmer route. And to think that you're going to be an individual to shoot your way through to the leadership without rallying the wider population through an arrangement of a party, like, I think that would be far-fetched.
The independents are shown.
But come back to my question. I'd like you to address that.
The question of whether, because the president made a comment on the speaker and the commissioners responded.
Yeah.
This. First of all, these are some misunderstandings, and I think this characteristic of dynamics of democracy, that somebody makes a statement and is understood or misunderstood. It forms the basis of an agenda to discuss further.
I don't know if you're answering my question. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're saying, but
if you can refresh your question, but you refresh your question.
No, I'm just wondering, man. Are we seeing the beginning of the end of the myth that is President Museveni?
There is nothing like an end of the myth. First of all, what myth? The president enjoys the popularity that he does. The president enjoys the...
Where's your script? I don't see a script in front of me.
Well, you're going to put him in problems. Some of the things that you can say them here.
It's a potential candidate for federal post. Now, by putting him in such a situation,
no.
You're denying him.
I think I attended the caucus,
right.
The party caucus, where the president made
some
statements that in which the name of the speaker and those of the prime ministers were mentioned by the president. And the circumstances under which he mentioned them is not the way I see it being blown up in the media. To me, I think the media is blowing this up beyond the proportion.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Same old story.
But what did the president say?
What about the fact
Exactly,
that the commissioners came out and said, listen, I'm sure some of those commissioners attended that meeting. Wait a minute, back off.
You're talking of the commissioners. Whose boss is the speaker?
NRM commissioners.
Yeah, NRM commissioners.
Commissioners is just NRM.
Okay, fair enough. But commissioners,
the commissioners are people who manage like a board of directors of parliament.
In their press
Some
conference, they
backbenchers
signed off as
and
NRM.
Yeah.
So the NRM, I think, has two. So
Prime
to
Minister
say.
sits on the commissioner.
Yeah, but those are by virtue of their offices and so on.
Yeah.
And so really, I haven't read the...
Simon, you're making it incredibly difficult for me to get many answers out of it.
Yeah.
When the commissioners come out like that, the way they do, let me take it to someone else. Maybe Obore.
Yes.
Explain.
I'm just telling you.
Because that's the alternative to Simon.
To be fair, I have not read the release of the commission.
Obore, you take it. Let's hear it from
You
you.
see, Simon, we understand politics in Uganda and whether the situation.
What's my situation? I have no situation.
You could as well want to become a minister. And there's only one appointment.
By the way, there is nothing like
either the
wanting
president
to become.
or the prime minister.
Right.
Matters in the ministerial appointment.
Okay.
If you don't go to that route, you have to go to Salim Saleh.
Okay, so fair enough.
So what's happening today?
Yeah.
That is his own making, though.
No, this, my friend.
Yeah.
Do not speak more
Doesn't
beans
exist.
here. The point I've told you,
Yeah.
President Museveni made an interview with NTV here with the Patrick Kamara that he will not be president after 76. By 2016, how old will he be?
70-something, early 70s.
The president has started his 2016 campaign, but he's still keeping it under wraps. There is no Ekakoza who will come with banana leaves now. But the gear is on. But then there is this bickering in NRM. He's avoiding, he knows there are people who are potentially going to be against his standing.
Like who?
Within his system.
Like who?
And they're going to disappoint.
Are you going to start
just
playing,
imagine it.
are you going
Just
to start
imagine
playing the
it,
same
please.
games as Simon has been playing?
Mama
Like
Abbas
who?
wants to be a minister, to be a president. He has served.
Has he told you that
intelligently.
categorically?
He doesn't need to tell me.
Right.
He has done a lot.
Right.
And there are people who are saying he should be rewarded. He's tainted because of serving the president. Time for him. Now, the trouble for them, they have bowed to this date of the president that is not standing in 2016. So others are beginning to say, if it is not Museveni, let it be Kadaga, let it be Janet, let it be Mbabazi. So these are the fights you see. But the actual sense is the president is standing in 2016.
What comes out of all this, Nicholas, is the whole new leadership thing that we're talking about, that we seek, that will take Uganda to a new direction, that will have a vision for the future, is not necessarily here yet.
Well, you know, the thing is that it hasn't given the space to emerge. If you accord it the space, it will emerge eventually. I think
Nobody
that,
gave him space.
well, I think that if that space is accorded, even within the NRM, you might actually find very good leaders emerging. See, the thing that we've had is that President Museveni is the alpha and omega, is one with the vision, nobody else has the vision. I think that is false. And the increasing attack on President Museveni by his own members of his own party shows you the fact that they are now uncomfortable. They think that there are other people who can actually offer alternatives to this country. I went for a press conference in which Honorable Msiriko was saying very strong words against the president. In 1996, and years before, you wouldn't hear that. Nobody would dare attack President Museveni at a press conference. So I think that President Museveni is increasingly becoming the guy next door, you know, and that everybody is going to challenge him. For as long as we think that his time is up, he's going to have to leave.
He paints a very easy picture, Angelo. Is that as easy as, is it as simple as that?
No. First of all, the government that runs the country is the army. you have to have an army. You have no doubt that negotiating power beyond Yoweri Museveni will have to contend with a very politicized military establishment. Until the day you see that issue addressed and the military, you know, finds its comfort zone within this infrastructure, Museveni is going to be a part of this.
What about the people of Uganda? I thought the military is all subordinate to the people of Uganda and all that.
Well, that's in paper, on paper.
Yeah, well, there's a theory of government, and then there is what actually happens.
Practice of government.
Yes. And so I don't see any of the other contenders be occupying his position of power. His authority may be undermined because he has had to negotiate away. Museveni is a broker of compromise. Remember that his broad-based system is what guaranteed that people can sit around in the same around the same boardroom as long as he's the chairman of the board. Right. That has been his political genius.
Right.
But like Christopher is saying, a lot of what you're seeing, the positioning, is because there is genuine uncertainty about the future. I think what we are hearing more and more these days is, you know, individual members of parliament or important people in the government asking how long the president can continue, you know, performing his duties effectively. You know, is he reaching a point where he actually genuinely wants to retire? And these are issues, and these are people who are positioning themselves for a crisis. It's not a sign of a party that is, you know, gearing itself for a leadership
And
change.
what about the other political parties? Are they offering that sort of vision? Are they offering alternatives? Or do we see again a complete systemic breakdown that requires the complete erosion of existing parties and the emergence of, say, a third force like
in the wild? You know, there are always young bulls that are waiting for the the big bull to collapse.
First of all, what Nicholas was saying, that Museveni is becoming
care of the
person next door. It's actually a tactic by President Museveni. Those who understand him better, he works like a chameleon. Don't be deceived to think that because Simon Mulonga has come with a statement that, you know, Museveni cannot be the only man, therefore Museveni is weak. Nah. At his weakest is when Museveni hits back. He's allowing all of this and he's discerning who in his party he can work with in the next government. He just knows 2016 is a given. I've told you, he's already put $10 million away for beds. He's working on the economy, his politics of buying votes, political economy, deciding who gets what. So for these people, they are fighting on if Museveni retires, if Kadaga becomes the president, I should be on her side. What Museveni is planning on how to make the next cabinet after 2016.
So if you had to tell Simon, you tell him to go closer to Museveni.
If he's wise, if he wants to remain NRM.
First of all,
we need to conclude.
First of all, I just partially agree with what Angelo is saying and disagree largely what Chris is saying. Democracy.
You don't agree that President Museveni is standing in 2016?
Well, he can't stand. He has not said.
Are
he
you
cannot
agreeing
stand.
or you're disagreeing?
Okay, fair enough.
I cannot be extremely sure that he's standing, but he hasn't said he won't stand either.
Right.
And of course, the process is open, and anybody else who wants to stand can contest for presidency. I think that the evolution of democracy in Uganda is on course,
right.
And anybody who can contend, who can contest, is free to do that. Yes, the military has a very big role to play, but that is moving away from the military. The people determine, and if the people chose somebody for the leadership, I'm sure that the military will have to bow to that. This sort of thinking that the military are out to reject anybody and they want to determine the leadership, I think this is something that is in the fantasy.
Simon, you were serving RDC when you came to Mbale to mobilize votes in 2006. Simon, you know the meetings we were calling? You were soldier. You were soldier holding meetings in the garage.
Are you quoting 20 years ago or are you quoting now?
He was holding in uniform.
I think to me that I was not in uniform.
Let's leave it there.
I was not in uniform.
Simon, you were carrying guns looking for votes.
No, I did not do that. So, I think to me, I think we're moving well.
But Simon needed to do what he needed. Let's leave it there.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there. Thank you very much
much
for being part of the fourth estate. I'm going to say thank you very much for Simon, Honourable Member of Parliament. Chris, we missed you, man. We missed your loudness. And then, of course, we've got Nicholas. Nicholas is a lawyer.
He has announced the president's new campaign.
Exactly. And then, of course, Angelo Izama.
That is something new, Chris.
Yeah, he's organizing a campaign.
My name is Alan Kasuja. Thank you. Let's do this again next Sunday. Have a good night.